Hey, you guys. Okay, today I have something nice and simple for you, but it's going to feel great if those hip flexors are pretty tight, okay? Which I know from time to time that happens, right? We do a lot of teasers. We do a lot of work with that core, so those hip flexors tend to get a little grippy sometimes. So we're going to release that today, okay? 20 minutes, a hip flexor stretch flow, nice and simple, and hopefully you just feel nice and loosened up after it all. Okay, all right, so here we go. We're gonna get right into it. I've got my reformer set on one extra light spring. You can also have it on a light spring, so either a yellow, which is what mine is set on, or a blue. Okay, I wouldn't go anything heavier than that because we do want the carriage to slide a little bit, and if you have to work to push it out there, that's gonna go against what we're trying to do today. Okay, so keep it nice and light. I've got my foot bar in the first position, okay, so that one click forward. Mine is an infinity foot bar, so that's why it looks a little different. I have a lot of positions it can hit, but right now I have room on the platform because I'm going to need my hands on the platform at times, and I am going to need my hands on that foot bar too. So make sure it is in that first position, locked and ready to go. You're not going to need your straps at all today, but you will need your reformer box. So have that down on the left side of your machine. So if you're looking from front to back, it is on the left towards the rear, okay? Because we're going to be pulling that forward when we need it. All right, we are going to start on the carriage. So join me. Okay, come all the way down on your carriage, on your knees. You're going to bring your hands to the platform. Okay, so hands are going to come to the platform. If you want a squishy pad out there for your hands, we're not going to be here too long, but it might be more comfortable with a squishy pad if you want that. All right, you want to make sure that the heels of your hands are nice and flat on that platform. Your fingertips can hang off. All right, I'm going to walk my legs back, okay, so that my toes are on the headrest and the front of my hips are open. Okay, that's important because we're stretching out that hip flexor today. I'm going to come into an up dog, right? So I'm going to let the hips drop a little bit. I'm going to open up my chest and spread my collarbone wide, and I'm gently gazing up at the top of the ceiling, or at where the wall meets the ceiling, okay? So just a gentle look up, not too aggressive. Keep that collarbone open nice and wide. So I don't want your shoulders up here by your ears. Keep them down, press away from the platform, and open up the front of the body. Now, you're going to feel the length at the front of the hip, right where the hip flexor is, right? We're lengthening out the psoas, the hip flexor, the inner thigh. So I want you to think about pressing your hips forward, but also drawing your belly button in at the same time. Breathe through this. You're here for 4. Last 3, last 2. Now go ahead and lift your hips, press them up and back. You're going to reach your hips for the headrest, okay? So child's pose, right? Our knees are narrow though. Our knees are not wide. Hold that stretch right there just for a second. We'll give ourselves that relief. And now we're going to come forward again, back to up dog. So you're going to drop the hips towards the springs, open up the chest, broaden the collarbone, gently gaze up at the top of the wall. Hold that and breathe for 4. Inhale, exhale, knit those ribs together. 3, 2, last 1. And go ahead and press those hips up and back one more time. Give yourself that little break. Okay, now I'm going to turn to my right. Turn to your right, and we're going to find Mermaid. My left leg is going to hook in front, okay, and my right knee is going to lace behind the shoulder block, okay? The shoulder block that's right in front of me. So I've got my kneecap pointing towards my headrest, okay? And my knee is up against the shoulder block. That's going to keep this right hip flexor in the stretched position or nice and open. We want to open that right hip here. Okay, from here, I'm sitting nice and tall on my left sitting bone. I'm going to take my left hand behind me to the edge of the carriage. Okay, and I'm going to have the right hand traction and help me twist to the left. So my right hand is also at the edge of the carriage, and I'm just using my fingertips to pull a little bit. Now, as I twist away, I'm feeling the opening on that front of the right hip, okay? And I'm keeping length through my spine, so I'm not collapsing forward. I'm staying nice and tall and lifting. With every inhale, I twist a little bit more. You're here for 4. Keep that inhale and exhale going. Last 3, that's going to help you release the grip. Last 2. Now, holding this stretch, you're going to take the right hand, okay, and you're going to take that right arm up and overhead and reach away from your right hip. Okay, you're reaching and lengthening out of the right hip. Okay, so how far can you get those right fingertips away from your right knee? That's the one behind the shoulder block. Okay, hold that length and hold that stretch and keep breathing. The breathing is so important here. Okay, we want to release the grip through the muscles. You're here for 4. Good, last 3. Last 2. Good, come all the way back through center. We're going to do that again. Left hand, okay? The left corner, back left corner of that carriage. Right hand is going to join the edge of the carriage, and we're going to traction and lift away from that right hip. So I'm twisting away from my right knee. Hold that and breathe. Good, you're here for 3, 2, 1. Now take that right arm up and off the carriage, and that right arm is going to reach up and overhead, lengthening out of that right waistline. Hope you feel a deeper stretch on the front of that right hip flexor. For 4, for 3, for 2, and release and come all the way back through center. Okay, we're going to come off the carriage. So step forward. You're going to have your right foot on the floor. We're going to face forward, face that foot bar. Your right foot is on the floor close to the frame. My left foot is at the edge of the carriage. Okay, my shin is heavy. My toes are relaxed. My knees right now are tracking with one another. I'm standing up on my right leg. Now from here, I'm going to lunge. So that right knee is going to bend as I let the carriage slide back. My hands are going to come to the foot bar. Okay, now from here, I'm going to press my right sitting bone back towards the rear, and my left hip is going to press down to the springs. Okay, so a little bit like up dog, right? But now it's single-sided. All right, so now you're feeling your left hip flexor, right? We were working the right before, we're lengthening the right. Now we're lengthening the left. You're also going to get a nice stretch through your right glute. Little bonus right there. Hold it here for 4. And breathe for 3. Good. Big inhales and exhales. Last 2. Now, holding this stretch here, you're going to keep your right hand on the foot bar, but you're going to take your left hand into a ninja palm position. So that means my palm is facing my midline, my thumb is up, and I'm going to take that left arm and I'm going to reach it up and overhead. My bicep is right in front of my ear. I'm gently gazing up at the top of the wall, and I'm looking for more length out of my left hip flexor. So I'm lengthening all down the front body on that left side. Inhale, exhale for 3. Good. Last 2. Don't hold your breath. Keep stretching and lengthening. Last 1. And bring the hand all the way back down. Let's come all the way up. We're going to do it again. Okay, give yourself a moment to reset. Stand up on that right leg. Knees are tracking with one another. Your left shin and toes are relaxed at the edge of the carriage. Notice my foot is not against the shoulder block. It is relaxing at the edge of the carriage because I want to be able to find length. I don't want anything to stop that. Okay, now from here, I'm going to bend that right knee. Let the carriage slide back. Look at that right kneecap. Make sure it is behind the toes. Okay, now hands come to the foot bar. Okay, and I open up the front of my left hip as much as possible. My right sitting bone presses back. My left hip presses forward and down. Hold that there. I'm looking at my springs, keeping the back of the neck nice and long for 4. Last 3. Last 2. Now take that left arm, palm in, okay, and thumb up. You're going to take that arm on your inhale, up and overhead, little back extension, right, opening up the front of the body even more. Hold that there. Length all down the left side of the body. For 4, for 3, last 2, and bring the hand down and come all the way back up. Okay, we need that box now. So go ahead and turn around, slide your box forward so it is lined up with your carriage. Okay, we're gonna kneel on the box. Kneel on the box forward facing. Your right knee is gonna stay down, but your left knee is gonna come to the carriage. Okay, so my right knee is under my hip, my left knee is generally tracking with the right knee, and we're gonna be sliding again. So make sure that shoulder block is not in your way, so your knee and your foot are towards the edge of the carriage. Hands are gonna come to the platform. Okay, so again, if you want your squishy pad, you can absolutely have it. You're gonna sit back into your hips, but actually before you do that, don't sit back yet. Stay forward because you wanna slide your left knee out first. So slide your left knee out so the front side of that left hip is open, and now sit back. Now sit back into your right hip. Okay, so the right knee and right hip are over the box or on the box. You're still opening and lengthening on that left hip flexor. Okay, so hold that stretch right there. I'm pressing away from my platform. Okay, shoulders are down and back. Now, my right hand. I'm going to take my right hand behind my head. Okay, now from here, I'm going to exhale as I take my right elbow to my left elbow. And now I'm going to open up on my inhale. On my inhale, I'm going to open up and take my right elbow all the way out to the right with a twist. I'm lengthening away from my left hip. Opening that cross diagonal sling. So we're going to open that up. That right shoulder's connected to that left hip. So we want to find length right there. Hold that for 4, for 3, for 2. Come back again. Right elbow to left elbow. Find that twist. Find that release. And on my inhale, I'm going to open up and twist away. Hopefully we find a little more range of motion this time. And take notice on the when we get to the other side, it might be different, your range of motion. Hold it here for 4, for 3, last 2, and come all the way back through center. Come all the way up. Now, to get that box to the other side, we're going to do a stretch with it on top of the reformer. So take your box, place it up on the top of the reformer. It can be over your shoulder blocks if you would like it to be, or in front. My carriage is nice and long, so in front of the shoulder blocks works for me. Okay, I'm going to sit on my box facing the foot bar. Okay, now I want you to scoot all the way forward because we're going to roll back. Okay, so roll all the way back. Your head may not be fully connected, but hopefully you have a little bit of a connection. Now I'm going to bring my legs up just so I can get you into position. Your left leg is going to lengthen out over your foot bar, so just let it relax. Okay, now your right leg is going to lace on the side of the box, the right side of the box. So my toes are down, and I'm going to take my right hand and draw the top of my foot back towards the shoulder blocks, okay? So my right foot or my right leg is off the box, okay? And I'm opening up the front of that right hip. Now my left hand's gonna go behind my head just to help support the head, okay? And we're just opening up, again, the front of the right hip. Now, in this position, notice the arch in my back and my ribs are open. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna think about drawing the ribs together, pulling the belly button in, and I get an even deeper stretch on that right hip flexor. You're gonna feel the right quad lengthen as well. Hold that stretch right here. Now, these are deep, deep stretches. If you feel cramping, I want you to get out of it. Okay, give the muscle a quick massage and then try again. Okay, so even when I was planning this for you, I was cramping through my hamstring, so I had to give it a minute. All right, that's not unnatural. Okay, so hold this here and breathe for 4. Last 3. Good. Last 2. Notice my toes are relaxed. Good. And then bring that leg all the way back up. We're going to do the other side right away. So right leg is going to lengthen out over the foot bar. Okay, right hand comes behind the head. Now I'm going to use my left hand to take the top of my left foot back alongside the box. Okay, I'm going to scoot over too because you want that left leg completely off the box. Okay, hold that there. My knee is off, my quad is off, my foot, the top of my foot is resting on the edge of the carriage, okay? And now here we go again. I'm gonna curl the tailbone a bit, knit the ribs together, pull the belly button in to get a deeper stretch on that left hip flexor. Hold it there for 4. Keep breathing for 3. Good. Last 2. Last 1. And bring that leg all the way back up. Okay, we're going to take the box off. So come on up, take the box off. We're going to do that stretch again that we just did without the box at the very end. Okay, take the box down to the floor, line it up with your carriage, and we're going to start with that kneeling stretch. So you're going to kneel on the box, forward facing. Your left knee will stay on the box very close to the frame. Your right knee will be at the edge of the carriage. Your hands are going to come to the platform, okay? Now from here, I'm going to shoot my right leg back. So I'm going to find lots of length at the front of the right hip already. Okay, now from here, I'm going to sit back into my left hip, pressing away from my platform. My goal here is to open up the right hip flexor. Okay, so I'm opening up that hip towards the well of the machine, pressing my left sitting bone back at the same time, and breathing. Now, we're going to take the left hand, that's your outside hand, behind the head, okay, airplane position. From here, you're going to exhale as you take your left elbow towards your right elbow, and on your big inhale, you're going to open up that left elbow all the way as far as you can go. Find that twist and that rotation. You're lengthening out of that right hip flexor. Good, hold that stretch and breathe for me, breathe. Relax that right foot for 4, for 3, for 2. On your exhale, bring that left elbow back to the right elbow. So I'm already noticing in my body, I have deeper range of motion here. Inhale, open up that left elbow. Find that twist. You're thinking about spiraling your ribs. Okay, opening up that right hip and thinking about that cross-diagonal pull from the left shoulder to the right hip. We're lengthening that right here. Hold and breathe for 4, for 3, for 2, and come all the way back through center and come all the way in. Okay, we're going to slide the box back. Okay, so come off your box, slide it back towards the rear, get it out of the way. Okay, now from here, we're going to do that lunge. Okay, so your left foot's going to stay on the floor. Your right leg, shin heavy, toes relaxed at the edge of the carriage. Okay, from here, I'm going to stand up on that left leg. My knees are tracking with one another. Okay, standing totally up on that left leg. I'm going to bend my left knee. Let the torso tilt forward. Hands are going to come to that foot bar, and I'm going to continue to open up that right hip flexor. Open up the right hip, looking down at the springs, right? We're not trying to look up. We want to keep the back of the neck nice and long. My left knee is tracking behind my toes. Hold that there. 4, 3, 2. Now, take that right hand, ninja palm. So my thumb is facing up, and now that right arm is going to track up and overhead as I find a little back extension, reaching my left hip back, my right hip forward, biceps in front of my ear, lengthening that whole right side for 4, for 3, for 2. Bring the hand back to the foot bar and come all the way up, reset. I'm going to do it one more time, okay? Stand up on that left leg, knees are tracking. We're going to bend that left knee, let the torso tilt forward, sending my left sitting bone back and my right hip forward, hands to the foot bar. Hold that stretch and breathe. Just breathe into it. Now take that right hand, thumb up, okay? And we're going to take that right arm up and overhead, still reaching my right hip for the springs, my left hip back. Hold it there and breathe. 4, 3, 2, hand to the foot bar and come all the way back up. Okay, we have that mermaid stretch. So coming down onto your machine, your right leg is going to hook in front. That's the leg closest to the springs. And my left leg's going to hook in back. Okay, now my left knee is going to come inside that shoulder block. So it's up against the shoulder block. My left kneecap is pointing towards my headrest. Okay, sitting nice and tall. This is a tough position flexibility-wise. Okay, so you could use a yoga block. Unfortunately for this, because of what we're trying to do, that may not be sturdy enough. So if this is uncomfortable, I would either take it to the floor and work on range of motion down there rather than being on the carriage. Okay, but we're going to sit nice and tall on that right sitting bone. All right, from here, you're going to take your right hand, to the back edge of that carriage. Okay, now my left hand is going to come right to the middle edge of the carriage, and I'm going to traction and lift away. Now notice I'm lifting up as I twist and not dumping down. Okay, you want to lift up and get taller as you twist. And breathe here for 4. Feel the left hip flexor open for 3. For 2. Good. And now holding this, I was going to reset you, but I'm not going to reset you yet. Holding this, you're going to take that left hand and you're going to bring it up towards the ceiling, and you're going to find a reach away from your left knee. You are reaching away from the left kneecap. So I want you to find as much length on your left waistline and the front of your left hip as you can. Reach the fingertips away from the knee. And breathe for 4, for 3, for 2, and release and come back to center. We're going to do that again. Okay, sitting tall on that right sitting bone. Keep your knee hooked exactly how it is. Right, then this might be enough of a stretch right here, okay? So take it slow. My hip flexors are not tight. So some of these are feeling very simple today because I'm not tight there, actually, which is rare. Okay, right hand is going to come to the back edge of that carriage. Left hand's going to come to the middle. And we're going to inhale as we lift up and away, finding that twist. You're finding some nice thoracic rotation at the same time. Okay, so there's a lot of residual benefits from this as well. Keep that twist going and breathing for 4, for 3, for 2. Take that left hand off the carriage and lift up and away from that left kneecap. How far away can you reach? Imagine you're trying to grab something up there. You're here for 4. Feel the length on the front of the left body. For 3, for 2, come all the way back through center. And now this is the last and final stretch. You're going to turn and face the rear. Come up on your knees. Turn and face the rear of the machine. Okay. We're going to take our hands to the shoulder blocks, knees under the hips. Okay, now from here, I'm going to ask you for a cat-cow. I know we're lifted, but I'm going to ask you to focus on your pelvis here. So on your exhale, you're going to let the tailbone wag up, let the chin look up. You're looking up at the top of the wall. And on your exhale, I'm going to ask you to focus on the tilt of the pelvis. So you're going to curl the tailbone under, pull the belly button back, round the shoulders, nod the chin. Okay, and I want you to feel the tuck of the tailbone right there. Contraction of the glute. Okay, and this is also opening up the front of the hips. Exhale. Exhale. Let the tailbone release. Look up. Let that back extension happen naturally. One more. Exhale, nod the chin, round and curl. Open up the front of the hips, feel the contraction of the glute. And now coming back to that neutral position, you're going to widen your knees, take your hands to the frame, and we're going to sit back into our hips and just hold that child's pose right here. 4, 3, 2, go ahead and come up, shoot your hips forward so the weight goes into our upper body. You can narrow your legs right here so that your hip flexors, ideally, right? You want your hip flexors to hit those shoulder blocks maybe, and they can act as a little bit of a massage for the muscle there. Okay, so if your hip flexor can hit the shoulder blocks, fantastic. My hips are a tiny bit narrow for my shoulder blocks, but you can kind of wiggle into position where and use them to kind of open that up a little bit more. Hold it there. 4, kind of wiggle on those shoulder blocks a little bit. 3, last 2. Good, and then go ahead and sit those hips up and back. One more time. This is your last final child's pose. 4, 3, 2, and come all the way up. And that was your 20-minute hip flexor stretch, you guys. Nice and simple, right? Okay, so again, a lot of those moves required quite a bit of flexibility. Okay, so take your time with it. You know, as you go through those stretches, the more you do them, the more muscle memory occurs, right? And your body will have an easier time getting into it. So I can't stress enough how important stretching is. I don't do it enough. I don't post enough videos for you either, but I promise I'm going to be better at that. So revisit this one many times. At least once a week would be great. It's only 20 minutes. Okay, so find some relaxing time, put on that nice music for yourself, and just focus on you for those 20 minutes. If you guys have questions for me, please leave them below the video. I promise you I will get back to you. I get back to everyone. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time for me to go through all the comments, but I will get back to you. You can find me on social media, JessPFit, both Facebook and Instagram. I am better on Instagram than I am on Facebook, just to be honest. I have live reformer sessions every week. Okay, so if you're interested in those, shoot me a DM. You can also find my email through my website, or a contact button through my website, JessPFit.com, and I can get you the information about those. They happen every Sunday morning. Those recordings then also are sent to you after the session, so even if you can't join live, you have a workout for that week. All right, I will see you guys soon. Take care.